Henry Ford was an American industrialist and business magnate, founder of the Ford Motor Company and chief developer of the assembly line technique of mass production. By creating the first automobile that middle-class Americans could afford, he converted the automobile from an expensive curiosity into an accessible conveyance that profoundly impacted the landscape of the 20th century. Ford was able to give various advice for people who wanted to become successful. Here in this video, we are going to share with you 5 of the most inspiring advice from Henry Ford. Number 1. Most people get ahead during the time that others waste. Early on in his childhood, Henry encountered technology which few children his age could play around with. He tinkered with the watches of his better-off neighbors, and by the time he was 12, he could not just take them apart, but also put them back together and repair them. The only resource you truly have in life is your time. If you waste your time, you're wasting your life. Get busy, get productive, attempt great things, and experiment. And remember that time waits for no one, and lost time is never found again. Number 2. If you think you can do a thing or think you can't do a thing, then you're right. The gas engine was an innovation Henry fell in love with, but it was one he didn't fully understand. After all, he had extensive experience with steam and metal, but almost none with electricity. And the gas engine was fired by an electric spark. To obtain this missing knowledge, Henry went to work for the local branch of the Edison Illuminating Company. In 1893, when Henry had already been promoted to chief engineer at Edison, he created his first working gas engine. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. It's not about any external force. It's about the God inside of you. It's about your mindset. To change your life, change what you tell yourself. Number 3. Thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason so few engages in it. Building a car in a world with no car parts wasn't easy, and Henry had to figure out every detail through trial and error. It took him 3 years of constant effort to produce this. The quadricycle, a simple frame with an engine powered by ethanol and 4 bicycle wheels mounted onto it. If you're thinking, you'll question long-term assumptions, challenge the status quo, and come up with a better way of doing things. If you're thinking, you'll be full of ideas. What we think, we become. Number 4. When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. By the end of 1902, Henry was pushed out of his own company and had only $1,000 to his name. It was back to the drawing board, and this time Henry would take a very different approach. Instead of targeting businesses with expensive machines, Henry would design a vehicle to be used by the average man. Life becomes easy for people who are willing to fight through any odd, while life becomes hard for people who expect it to be easy. Things don't happen fast or easily. To go far, you have to go rough. Number 5. Failure is simply the opportunity for you to begin again, this time more intelligently. Henry learned the importance of having a reliable supply chain when his first company failed, which is why this time around he tried getting as many parts as possible from the same manufacturer. If you want to be a success, you'll fail more times than you'll succeed. Most of the successes we celebrate today only happens after hundreds of failures. Just because you fail once doesn't mean you're going to fail at everything. Never let success get to your head, and never let failure get to your heart. You always pass failure on your way to success. Henry had become a new age in American history, the age of the automobile, and it was his company that would totally dominate in its first 2 decades. Success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. Thank you for watching. Be motivated. Success will surely follow you one day.